Hi everybody, it's Lynn. It's time for January. Woohoo! Here we are. If I had the painted original sample for you, I'd show you. It's buried away somewhere. So here's a picture of the insert. Okay, what I want to tell you is this is the base coated piece. Transferred the pattern on, and I am trying to center this, and what it's probably to your benefit if you transfer the pattern on heavy, so that when you put the washes on, you can see your lines through the washes, or you can do your winter blue wash first, and then put your pattern on once it's dry. It's either one or the other. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. So we're going to dive right in. Okay, this is the palette. I'm going to start with Winter Blue, and I'm going to pick up the number 4 Ultra Round. I'm going to wet it. I'm going to stick it into, I'm hoping I'm on camera, stick it into the paint, and I'm just going to wiggle it back and forth and just mix that Winter Blue down into the water, down into the bristles. I'm going to come in, and I'm going to go right over the whole thing. And I'm going to do this off camera so you can't see, but it's exactly the same thing. I basically want to cover the whole thing. What we're going to do is work with, once we get the Winter Blue on there and mopped, I'm going to do that right now. This is a duster stipler. I use it all the time, even for small pieces, because I'm going to do a straight up and down stipple versus a mop. It covers a large area in a short amount of time. I'm wiping the excess off on a paper towel. You can, if you listen, you can hear how much I'm pressing down. There are bristles that are sticking to it, and that's fine. Once it dries, we can kind of flick them off. Dry it, then I would do another light wash on top, dry it, and we come to this. And that's just basically 2 very light washes of the Winter Blue. I'm going to come in with the Snow White on my palette, number 4 Ultra Round. Mix it really good with the water. And then I'm going to come in. I've basically already done 1 light wash already on here. And there's enough water on here so that it's easy to move that brush around. And mop as I go. I say that a lot in my directions, mop as you go. And this is exactly what I mean. Just do a small area so that if parts of this starts to dry, you've got a nice blended edge where you can kind of pick up where you left off. All right, I'm going really fast, and I normally would take a little more time. You make a boo-boo, just wipe it off because it's just basically half water, half paint. Blop, 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 blop. There we go. This is the Maxine's half-inch mop, soft mop, and I love it for smaller areas. Like I said, I really like the duster stipler for doing a large area of consistent mopping. I use that on my Father Christmases. I'm going to dry this guy, so bear with me. Okay, because I did really heavy with my lines, I can still easily see them through the wash. Now I'm going to pick up, I wanted to show you this. If you notice, all the markings on the faces, the shading inside each ear, and the noses are with black, a heavy black wash. All the floating around the outside of it is with burnt umber, and a little bit of the shading mixed in also on top of the bears. You can use strictly the black. You can use burnt umber, or you can use a mixture of the two. It's kind of what I generally use. So again, this is the number 4. I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to stick it into the black paint, and I just tipped it in, just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And the more I wiggle it back and forth, the more water is mixed in with the black, and the less intense the black's going to be once we put it on there. So I blotted it a little bit. I'm coming in parallel to my piece, parallel to the back, not up this way like I'm painting. So it's parallel, and I hold the brush this way and I move it this way So I'm going to kind of anchor it with my finger, come in right up to my transfer line, press the bristles down, and just kind of walk it back and forth. It's kind of heavy, so I'm going to wet my brush, take all the paint off, blot it, and come in now with a damp, clean brush and pick up the rest. And make sure you take special attention to this edge here, because if that starts to dry, that's when you get that weird kind of banding effect. Whoops, I'm going to come in, throw my brushes around. I'm going to come in with a 1/4 inch mop, and I'm going to start on the outside edge here and mop in towards where I want to leave that color so that it's just soft and blended. Flip it around. Come back with a little bit of the same puddle of black. I hope you're watching what I'm doing and not looking at my dirty fingers. I've been painting before we started videoing, so if you find it looks like you get this kind of effect, wet your brush, get the color off it, blot it, and come in with just a little bit of water. Before that paint sets, you have control over this. You can control how much is on there, how much you want to take off. Soft mop, flip it back around, and I picked up a little more black on the tip. I didn't reload with the water. And I picked up more black, and I kind of wiggled it into the eye area. And we're going to lightly mop that, just to add a little more depth in the eye socket area. Soft, soft, kind of. Now, if you get an overstipple above the eye here, I didn't mean to do that. Just take a wet brush. And this, again, is before it all sets. You should be able to play with it and remove it. If it starts to set and you go to mop it, then you're going to get those weird holes. That's okay. We can always fix it. It's just easier if you don't have to. Okay, I'm going to dry it again, guys. Okay, and now we're going to come in and do a little bit of shading inside each ear. Okay, and I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of black on the tip of my brush. And I'm not really even trying to make an eye. I'm just kind of dotting on darkness, like a little, not even a circle. It's just a little blotch of black. I use my fingers a lot to mop, so that's a good thing. I don't really like a heat gun per se, because I find it heats my piece up too hot, and then it takes too long for it to dry off. So now this is watered down, so it's considered a wash, but it's a heavy wash because there's more paint in there. And I just painted the nose, maybe a little line underneath for the mouth. Again, this is faster than I would normally be doing it. And pick up a little bit of white. I am going to, hope I'm on camera, take the tip of my brush. Actually, this is a good time to introduce the number 2. Wet it, blot it, stick it into the white, and just twirl it back and forth. Get that nice little point. Like you were loading a liner to do line work, it's the same thing. And I'm going to anchor my finger and just give it the tiniest little dot in that eye that I can. And honestly, I don't know why, but it kind of brings him to life. If you've got room for a little highlight dot next to it, you can. Wipe the excess off, kind of smudge a little white on the nose. Boom. Okay, now for shading. Like I said before, I'm going to come in with, burnt umber. Number 4, damp brush, stick it in the brown. I'm mixing it back and forth really, really fast. Hold on just a sec. I'm going to blot it a little bit. Now we're going to come in. You can start anywhere. I'm going to start around the outside and wrap this burnt umber right around his face. It's going to go all the way around. You can always add more water or pick up more paint at this point and kind of adjust. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I had Rookwood red on my finger, and I get it on my piece. Whoops, never mind. Okay, continuing on with the burnt umber. Again, I'm not going to do the whole thing for time, but it's on the same idea. You're going to do this around Mama Bear, and then you're going to do that around the babies. And by floating around each one individually, it kind of sets them in place. Like if we float around the back of Mama, by the time you're done with the little guy, you know, it's going to set him in the background because we've got the shading right around there. And at this point, I would probably introduce a little black, but I'm not going to because I'm just about done showing you this. So you can see I've got some of the burnt umber around here. I've introduced a little bit of black here and there. So what I did want to show you is the snow across the bottom here. I'm going to flip this around. And hold on just a sec. I'm going to use something you wouldn't expect. I'm going to use the 1/2-inch mop and just tap on some snow across the bottom. That's about it, guys. Other than a float around the all around the inside edge, that basically takes care of our January polar bears. Take care. Bye.